So, like I was just alluding to, you want to get better. I want to do an hour and 4 minutes being able to weave together one note through a story in each of the 10 storylines. So we're going to try that right now. The main impetus for turning this on, the ignition that was already piggybacking off of some frustration energy that I have. And then Mel, I can feel her because it's like she's a powerhouse, man. And she's just beginning to touch the tip of what she's here to do on a soul level. And there's shit to be done right now. Like people are hurting. People are hurting. And it's the ones that materially have the most. And you don't have to have that much to be considered in this category. If you're not living paycheck to paycheck, you just don't have, if you've never lived paycheck to paycheck, you don't have a clue as to how many people, and financially is only one aspect, but it's a very real aspect. You know, people are hurting financially, they're hurting health-wise and in their bodies. They're hurting, and they're dying on a spirit and soul level, dying. And that's where I come in. So, okay, here it is. Today's note, which is admittedly, it's more, you know, it's a lower note. It's maybe even like a flat, you know, like a lower than a B flat, you know, or a low B flat on the piano, you know, like it's a flat key, it's low, it's disharmonious, you know, so it's almost like when you literally first hear the tuning start, you're like, whoa, okay, everybody's got a little up and downs to do, okay? We all got to adjust a little bit. So I knew I needed to adjust because once again, swearing in the cooler at the farm, it's raining, there's no space, you know, like the farm is clearly right now the biggest activated aspect of my life, and it's the one I would least want. I often feel, so that I was already triggered, doing deliveries, and then I just was watching Mel, but I was triggered in a great way, because I want to be working out in the world where I'm efficient, okay? Where I'm efficient. I am not efficient at the farm because, we'll get to that. Okay, so here we go. This note, it's like a low flat, but I'm not thinking of it in a sound. I want to feel what it is. Okay, and I'm going to deliver this I've got them laid out in a very specific way. I'm going to go backwards because I feel like the more potent ones are the ones that go back the longest, and they're sort of laid out the way that I had them by like earliest in my life to most recent. So we're going to start with the most recent, Shadow Cat and Peanut. Well, I'd say that note in that storyline is just, man, what a journey, as I literally thought Shadow Cat was going to die 2 weeks ago. He definitely hasn't, which is good, but it's such a, oh my God, like it's such a wild thing. I mean, these are like my kids, like I had to really work through some attachments but also it's not been easy to care for an aging cat, and he's losing his ability to always get stuff in his litter bin, and he's a fluffy cat, so he can drag it sometimes through the house, and I'm just like, oh my God, but he's not ready to go, and it's so clear he's not ready to go, and I'm so happy he's not ready to go, but it is just wild, because it's like, that's part of the reason I can't allow myself to explore energetically in my work, because I feel like I've got to hold on, and like I'm waiting till, okay, we'll really get started once Shadow Cat just moves on, and I don't want him to move on, not at all. But it's like just being real about where all my energy is with these storylines. So, and also, I need to be outside in nature more, which is very hard to do for me in Florida because there's just so many people, which I prefer alone in nature. And it's hard for me to leave because the cats aren't like dogs. You can't just take them out in the park with you. And so that also is playing with me when I think about Shadow Cat and Peanut. Okay, becoming Iron Woman within Iron Man. So the story of Iron Man in my life. Without doubt, the primary thing that came through to me is, for anybody that is familiar, so it's funny, it doesn't, the symbol of Iron Man is why the company is worth seemingly so much. It's not because, it's because of the logo. And a lot of times in present day we see the power of merchandising and the power of logos, and it's such a, I don't like liking logos because I just don't like it. I think it's too superficial. I think there's been a lot of, I think they've contributed a lot to making it more valuable, something more valuable based on what you can make it look like it is rather than what it actually is. So like the perception, and it's rarely a real representation in my experience. There's not a lot of realness out in the third dimensional world, hence where I believe I come in, and why I make people uncomfortable more than for any other reason is because of the depths of the realness, and it's intimate in that regard. And Iron Man, when you have that logo, and of course it doesn't mean anything to anybody who doesn't know about it, but to anybody that knows about Iron Man, that logo, if you're wearing, you know, that logo, especially as, you know, identified as a participant, I mean, less or so if it's like, you know, it's got the logo and it's like Iron Man finisher wife or something like that. Not to minimize that role, or husband, not to minimize any role of a family member that supports their loved one doing an Iron Man, but there's a big difference between the folks that are just fans, the folks that actually do them, and then the folks that work them and put them on. There's all different levels of what is it really? What, you know, there's what you think, and there's like, what do you know? And sorry, but people that are fans of stuff, whatever that may be, you don't know what it really is. But there's an energy, what I like about it, as somebody that is powerful and energetically, I draw in, when I go somewhere, I draw in energy, and I'm also come from a people-pleasing past, and so it can be challenging, and has been challenging, and it's taken me a lot of years to learn how to not have boundaries, but to just know, you know, the exchange, the give and the exchange, because I have allowed myself to be sucked dry for most of my life, and I was not aware to what degree my energy was attracting, and therefore what I was giving without permission, and what was being taken without permission, and, you know, just the whole flow was totally fucked up. Because I had no awareness of what was really going on, really until my awakening. Because when I had my awakening, more or less, that's when I finally understood and was able to validate for myself that everything I thought I had seen as real up to that point, but nobody could validate it on the outside, it was true. It is true that that there's a completely different world possible. It's already in existence. It is true. I've already lived in that version. I know how to get there from where we are. At least I can help, but not unless you want to receive the help. And there's something with that Iron Man symbol that just sort of keeps people at some people who aren't emotionally as mature or you know, will take it as an over-invite and invite themselves, you know, on planes and things like that. But there's just sort of an energy of, it's almost like respect, where it's like, listen, I don't need to get into the proving game. I fucking hate the proving fucking game. But I don't have, like, it's like, I don't have time to prove to you where I'm at because you're all insecure that you're trying to perceive me as being higher than you. That's also a real big general thing that I've been tiptoeing around. It's just this ego, you know, it's like, I don't have time to mess around with your fucking egos anymore, man. Like, I am a very compassionate, kind person. I am somebody that isn't hurtful to other people, but enough is enough. We've got a big transition ahead. This is torture for a lot of people out there. I'm very sensitive. I feel that. Let's get to work here. And my rule is, I'm just going to have to call it as it is. And if you get upset, that's not my goal to hurt or to upset anybody, but we've got to move on. And I can't do that if I am, you know, I've been worried about trying to, explain to everybody, because I'm not playing that game. I can't lay to you show you some big bank account or give you all these titles and all these, I have earned a bunch of degrees and things, but I haven't done anything in the past 25 years in this hierarchy, because that's not what I was supposed to do. All I've done is had lots of experiences at high levels of multiple segments of the society, and there's a reason for that. And my experiences are valid, and I can speak to them very clearly and eloquently, and I can criticize from a very intellectual perspective within your realm of world, and then offer solutions on how to address the criticisms I make. Yes, I can do it, and then weave it together with a half a dozen other things. But I fucking can't explain it all to you. I just need you to grant me, what part I need from you, if you will, right? It's like, just give me some resources, man, and let me start doing my thing. Because it's exhausting tiptoeing around all the ego energy. And it's funny because that Iron Man symbol, it's like, you get the whole spectrum. You get everybody that think it's everything. Because, again, as with everything, nothing is better than it. But there are realities of the physical dimension of what it takes, to do it. It's not any better than anything else, but you gotta fucking respect what it takes to do one. You know what I'm saying? But all of you that have done one, don't think that you now walk around entitled to everybody, bow to you just because you've done a fucking Iron Man. Check your ego. It's always a balance. I'm the balance point, man. And for me, I've always been on the humble side, and especially because I don't have the resume, if you will, post-college, it's I'm not comfortable on this side, but because I don't have the resume, it's all right, that's kind of what the Iron Man symbol did. It was almost like Iron Man stat, just fucking step off and stop. See me as your equal, please, because I've been playing my role and preparing just like you, okay? It might not look the same as yours, but I'm powerful too, and I need a chance. All right, 2380 Datura. This is the story with Kendall. Holy cow. The guy that came to inspect my windows. And I'm just going to drop Kendall, Roseanne Barr. I don't have any idea what this connection is going to be, but unbelievable story with the Sarasota County guy that came to inspect the second set half of my windows in my home being done. I have to get that story out because it's been now almost 2 or 3 weeks, and it was out of universe synchronicity with him, and we've continued to communicate with text, and all I know is that there's some connection with the Roseanne Barr recording I did, which is pretty. I just want to drop that. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but that's a big one. AIN LLC, it's all about the energy. These are not going to, just keep going.